And so, as a follow-up on this revelation, okay, famous words that are fives that start with gal, okay, or glay and divide by five. You just use the computer to scoop them all up, okay, it becomes obvious, the joy of God and all these things. One of my favorite, okay, is these flowers, gladiolas, and the scientific name gladiolus, okay. This is too obvious because gladiolas differs from gladiolus by 20 points perfectly, highlighting the fives. Gladiolus is double joy, 100, and this is 20 points less. It's these guys here, okay? All names are ordained, and it's all for your joy and God's. And then as you walk through the five fest in all these words, so all this began with our revelation that the word glacier is gal plus rice, okay, which have joy in common. The reason gals exist, the reason rice exists is for God's joy and yours and theirs and everyone's. And so now you just the obvious things to throw all English words in the dictionary, starting with GAL, that divide by five, okay? The first on the list is, of course, a gal, a person, as it should be, okay? Because we know that people are made in the image of God, the eternal souls. And then, oh, so a gal is a joy, okay? Galas, ooh, yeah, you like galas, parties, get-togethers with people. That brings you joy, doesn't it? And then a galaxy takes that even 25 points higher. Yeah, a galaxy is a joy to God. And you, a gale, is a strong wind. Wind equals joy. Gale equals half a joy. Are you getting this? Gale equals 25. Wind equals 50. And so, this is really cool. Galena. I didn't even know what this was. It is the chief ore from mining like pits all over the world. And it's a beautiful silver. It's definitely a joy to discover. You look at images of this stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that's pretty. But it's the chief ore of lead, which is useful. Why does man mine lead? For joy, for uses for our joy and pleasure. So Galena, screaming out fives. Galilees, porches at the entrance to some English churches. Why did we create those? For joy. I had that word come to us the other day, that the Red Sea and the Sea of Galilee, these were personal words from the Lord. Both of them divide by 5. The Sea of Galilee adds to 120, 130 perfectly. The Red Sea also divides by 5. Okay? And so now we're scooping up all these GALs that divide by 5 in order and just seeing more of the joy of God in world history. A gallipot is a type of resin. I know that resin divides by 5. Okay? And resins are massively used all through chemistry. They come from trees. You can read about it for yourself. Gallantry, courageous behavior, especially in battle. It's like chivalry. Gallantry. But I encourage you to slow down and squeeze the 5s out of this. Gallantry is a pure joy to men and women alike. Look at all the 5s. There's your gal, okay? Show some gallantry to the gals, okay? It's all ordained. Put the L and the R together. Now, if all men were taught this from age 5, we would actually have this kind of behavior on planet Earth. Men would be treating women properly, women would be treating men properly, and people would be in paradise, people would be dancing their heads off, knowing what God has ordained in letters, and we'd all be on cloud 9 because of love. So look at the 5s in gallantry, gentlemen, ladies. Gal is at the front. Gallantry, according to the dictionary, is closely related to how men treat gals. Men treat women. Read the dictionary for yourself. Okay, but so squeeze this goes even broader to describe courageous behavior and all sorts of cool stuff, and go to the roots of this. You'll get even more gold coming your way. But look at the 5s. Look at the joy of gallantry. So gal at the front is 20. Okay, LR is another 30. So there's a joy. 15, 20, 25. Like, could I ask for more 5s in the word gallantry? It's a joy. Okay, it's a joy for someone to show gallantry, and it's a great word. And as you see the mathematical beauty of these words, you'll start pulling them out, and God will bless you. God blesses you for using this verbiage. I kid you not. What you speak becomes who you are. It's called prophecy. You prophesy over your own self. You prophesy over your own life. You prophesy over your own country. You say, I declare that Canada shall be full of gallantry from sea to shining sea. And it's going to happen. But you need to use this exact word that God knows, that God is aware of, that you have solved for His glory and His joy, and you need to speak this word, and it will happen because you are a prophet. You need to say, there will be gallantry all across this land, and it will happen in God's perfect timing. So gallantry is 110. Screaming out joy. I I'm excited. Let's keep going through all this. And like I said, you have Google for a reason. I've noticed that Google is hooked up to the Oxford English Dictionary precisely because the text in my printed dictionary from Oxford matches all this text. But squeeze more gold out of gallantry, especially the roots. Okay, and so gallantry comes from the root gallant, which also it's screaming out fives. Okay, even if it doesn't five. But so now you got to go to this root here. Okay, what does this word gallant mean? Where does it come from? Oh my goodness, it comes from the word gale, which means pleasure, rejoicing. And oh my goodness, there, see, we dug deep into the gold mine. Remember how I told you that it was all about joy? Well, see, we went, look at this. Gallant, finely dressed. Gallantry, treating women with incredible respect and honor, courageous in battle. Galer, have fun, make sure. What's the deepest gem in the gold mine? What's the root that you need to pluck up? Right there. Right there, gale. Right there, and look at your fives. 25, it's half a joy perfectly. Remember? A gale is a wind. Okay? And then you can read up on what kind of wind, but it's half a joy. Remember, Jesus said, he who is filled with the Spirit is likened unto the wind. It's all spiritual. So gale is 25, wind is 50, joy. But what does gale mean in Old French? Remember, the word laugh in Old French is 50, rire. So gale means pleasure, rejoicing. So you go to the root and you realize that everything is about joy, and it's all the number 5. So why should you show gallantry? And why should you be a gallant person? For God's joy and everyone's joy that runs into you. And it's all mathematically perfect. There you go. So we went deep, as you should, and you realize that everything is about pleasure and joy. Done. Grab that sucker. Okay? And you're just like, whoa. See how you have to go deep? Okay? To get all this stuff. Okay. Galleons, of course, are ships. Okay? We know that was for joy. A gallery, joy. Gallicism, a French expression. Some of these are, not real words or not as used. This is a fun one. This is a medley of, it's a really long one. Lots of 5s in there, as I've highlighted. Okay, it's like the ultimate stew with a bunch of things in it, and you get the root on this one, and it's quite hilarious. Gallons, okay, gallons of whatever. Yeah, everyone knows the joy of gallons of something. Okay. One word leads to another. This reminds me of the word sold. Okay, gallopers. Now, just because something, this is where it takes faith. Okay, but God actually ordains everything in life for your better improvement, including if He gives you a gallstone, which is sometimes like a wake-up call for you to stop sinning in some way. I'm not joking. Everything is from God. You have to ask Him why it's happened. Okay, but He's trying to conform you to His image. Okay. But some of these words, you obviously use your discretion and all this stuff. I'm here to start with the obvious. Glabrous skin. Clean shaven. But this is a technical word for being clean shaven. Okay, but look at the 5s in this. Gla, B-R-O-U-S. Okay, why do most men and women maintain glabrous skin? It's because their spouse likes it that way. They like smooth skin when they're making love and all that good stuff. Well, look at that. Look at the joy in glabrous. 20, 15, 40. Glabrous. Glabrous. Say, honey, I appreciate your glabrous skin. And they won't even know why, but they'll feel the Holy Ghost, they'll feel the joy of the Lord come upon them. Because you've just used this sacred word of God that God knows is pure 5s. And it's all very simple. Okay. So Glacier started this whole party. And Gladiolus is an obvious joy. Okay. Most of these colors, by the way, divide by 5. Pink, cream, tan, white, orange. The other one's knit together with all sorts of cool stuff. Okay, but it's not hard to think about the joy of many of these words that, okay. Glassware, okay. Are staring you in the face. Glass work. Anything that's glazed. This is a fun one because it's the letter Z, which we know is a joy. Okay, all letters are a joy. Z and then a gal. Okay, glazed. But it's all joy. The reason that item is glazed is the same reason that a gal exists and the same reason that the letter Z exists, for the joy of God and man. It's the same reason people do glassware. It's the same reason they do glass work, and why we have glass men. It's just joy, okay? And do glass blowing. That's why. It's for the joy of this stuff. Now we did a hunt for algae. You know, I think this is the plural of algae. Let's try throwing it in here. Actually, Google doesn't even find a definition for that. Okay. Lagunas. What is that? Sounds like a plant. No, it doesn't even, Google's not even finding a definition for it. So I have a pretty intense word list that has some obscure words, which is great. This is a fun one. So AGL, aiglette. An aiglette is that plastic wrapper that goes on the end of your shoelace that prevents it from unraveling. Okay. Pretty important stuff. But once you know the pure fives and all this, you really do appreciate this stuff that much more. Remember, the word miracles was rim plus laces. Okay. Well, what good would your laces be if you didn't have the aiglettes on the end? Every corner of the puzzle must be filled in for your maximum joy. If you did not have aiglettes on the end of your shoelaces, they would have unraveled by now. But this word is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's the word leader. This word equals leader, and it contains many of the same letters as leader. Okay? The aiglette is literally the leader as you lace, you know, that shoelace through the holes in your shoe. Okay? And you can solve the whole thing. But if it wasn't there, you wouldn't be nearly as happy. And God might ordain one to fall apart so that you feel the frustration, and then you actually appreciate your aiglettes from now on. I'm serious. That's why all this stuff happens. God wants you to finally appreciate everything that has ever come your way in life, and that it's all for your joy, and that it happens through people most of the time from all corners of the world. Okay? So this is a big list. Okay? It's a very fun list, as all of them are. It takes your brain all over the world to understand the joy of God in everything that exists. You get smoking hot words that are incredible mathematical beauties, like gallantry. I would say that's the word of the day, one of the words of the day from this GAL. This is a list of all English words that start with gal and ultimately divide by 5. And that revelation, of course, like all of them, comes from one word, and one word leads to another. So this study we did in previous video, preaching on that, how a galaxy is pure fives, God's joy in a galaxy. Okay, the reason we have an axe is the same reason that we have a gal, the same reason we have a galaxy, and the same reason we have a y-axis. It's all for your joy and God's joy. God's joy first, your joy second. It's the same reason we have a glacier, a gal, and rice. Okay, and then you just follow that pattern through the English language, and you are not disappointed with the logic of it all and the perfection of it all. Okay. And it all makes perfect sense when you trace everything to their root. You follow the production line and the assembly line and the you know, entire route to product chain of anything you've ever experienced in life that is for your happiness. And every word contributes to this joy fest, this 5 fest. Okay. Cool.